Hello, everyone, and welcome to Big Sam's Long Balls podcast with me, Dan. Now, today I'm going to make a video on the game last night between my team, Liverpool, and Manchester United. Now, before I get into the video, I would love it if you guys could join our Big Sam's Long Balls podcast community. So, by subscribing down below, giving this video a like, and also commenting down below some of your thoughts, because last night was pretty depressing as a Liverpool fan, and probably pretty exciting if you support Manchester United. So let's jump straight into this game, because I wanted to do a video last night straight after the game. I actually wanted to do a watch along, but you know I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't in the end. I might want to do watch alongs a little bit more if we can grow this channel, but God, I was seething. I was fuming last night. I still am. It's just such a horrible feeling to go away to Manchester United, and well, to lose any game against Manchester United magnifies the situation. But Liverpool are 100%, in my opinion, in a crisis. I felt this at the end of last season, pre-season, the start of these games, that there's something very wrong going on. Over the summer, it has very much felt like there have been things happening behind the scenes. Uh, Something isn't right. You can see it. You can smell it almost. That there is disharmony in that squad and in that club. But equally, we have to give genuine credit to Manchester United. They've had a shocking start to the season. They were bullied off the pitch by Brighton and Brentford, and obviously Ten Hag has brought them in. They were completely outrun by Brentford, and they did to us really what Brentford did to them. It was humiliating last night, but you have to give real credit to Ten Hag, to those Manchester United players. They gave everything. They ran more than us. They were more aggressive. They outfought us. They outthought us. Um, they wanted it more than the Liverpool players last night. I think that was very evident, and that's what hurts. I think as a Liverpool fan today, um, you accept losing. You don't like it, but of course you accept it when a team completely outplays you. And Man United did outplay us, so I accept it on that behalf. But to see Man United players running more than us and giving more than our players, while Liverpool players were just stropping, really, they were just strolling around the pitch, throwing their hands in the air, really giving an impression that they didn't want to be there, that they didn't care. It was awful to watch, but like I said, you have to give real credit to Manchester United. Ten Hag has turned it around within the space of a week. Exciting times for them. Casemiro coming in. It looks like Anthony is going to be coming in for another 80 million. Potentially still the idea of signing De Jong or that winger from PSV. I forget his name. So exciting times for Manchester United. They'll protest against the owners, and that's their right. But the owners are backing them. They brought in a world class manager, and the team are playing really really well from what we saw last night. But let's talk about my team, Liverpool, because last night was, I think, potentially one of the worst moments in the 7 years nearly that Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool. Um, I don't really understand what's happening here. Really don't understand. We can look at some of the forces outside of the football pitch, where we look at the owners and we go, FSG are they're not backing Jurgen Klopp. Then they're not going out and signing a midfielder, whether that is FSG or whether it's Klopp himself. I get the feeling it's people above Jurgen Klopp. He's mentioned a couple of times now that he would like another midfielder. He would certainly like players who are actually going to be available, i.e., Naby Keita. I think it's you know without getting reactionary or emotional, I think Naby Keita needs to leave this football club. I know last night had nothing to do with Naby Keita, but his management or his agency have been really running their mouths, sort of belittling Liverpool, talking about how Naby Keita is really unhappy. He needs to be playing more. Well, I'm not being fucking funny, but this guy is a joke of a footballer. £50 million spent on him all those years ago. One of the biggest flops in the history of the club, and it's not Jurgen Klopp's fault. It's not anyone else's fault. It's his own fault. It's your own player's fault. So you can big up Naby Keita and say that he should be starting games. He, the fact is, he can't even walk 5 meters without injuring himself. Isn't this what happened? He fell over and he's injured himself, and now it looks like it could be a long-term injury. The guy, I'm sorry, I don't want to criticize players for being injury prone or for getting injuries. I know it must be awful, the worst thing in the world for any athlete, but my God, this guy is a joke, a complete joke. Just I can't wait. I cannot wait for this man to leave. He'll go for free next summer, and I will cheer. I will celebrate massively. I can't stand Naby Keita, along with the likes of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, players like that. Yeah, it sucks that they're always injured, but they're always injured. That never changes, and I don't understand why we have to base our whole season on players like Thiago, like Keita, begging them to stay fit when we know it's not going to happen. So what is the point? It's just sheer stupidity from the management, from Jurgen Klopp himself, and it's just I don't want to see these players in this Liverpool team anymore. You look at that bench last night; it was laughable. It was laughable. If you didn't know which team or which fan base rather was protesting against their owners for lack of investment, you would think it would be the Liverpool fans because that bench last night wouldn't even make it into the championship. That bench of players would get relegated from the championship, bar Fabinho. And I will include Carvalho in that because he's not Premier League proven. Although he looks good, he certainly looks exciting. He's 19 years old, he's unproven. A couple, same thing can be said for a couple of others on that bench. But as for the rest, not good enough. And I know that they wouldn't usually be there. And we've got 10 injuries at the moment, potentially sort of first team options. So I know not everything is on the owners, but this lack of investment, this lack of ambition that stems from the top upwards, um, it's killing us. It's absolutely killing us. But the thing is, it's not a surprise. FSG have never backed any Liverpool manager. They've been owners, for about 11 years now, 11, 12 years. They've been our owners. They're not the type of people, A, who particularly care about football, and B, they have no ambition to win the Premier League. They have no ambition to win the Champions League. That is an added bonus for this football club, for these owners. And while we've been doing that, it's been brilliant. But the reason why we've been doing it is because of A, the excellence of Jurgen Klopp and his coaching staff, and the excellence in recruitment and the unbelievable performances from these players. But now we're seeing that these players are getting older. They look mentally and physically exhausted. They came 1 point within winning the Premier League title last season. They lost the Champions League final last season. And any owners worth their weight would go out and invest. It wouldn't just try to, I heard, I saw a tweet this morning, which I thought was fairly accurate. It said that we've replaced this transfer window. We haven't improved, replacing the likes of Sadio Mane, Minamino, Origi, and players leaving. I don't even think we've replaced them. Genuinely, we sold 3 strikers and we brought in 1, maybe 2 if you count Carvalho, but I don't really know where he plays. We're talking about attack, we're talking about midfield, but we can put him in there. That's still only 2 while selling 3. So we haven't even replaced the players that we've sold, let alone improve. There is no ambition to improve from these owners. We are a Europa League level club. Not in terms of players that we've got at the moment, but the way that we are run and the structure and the ownership is for a team that finishes 7th or 8th each season. You look at their lack of investment when Brendan Rodgers was here, and it's the same under Jurgen Klopp. It's just a sell to buy policy year in, year out. Owners that will not dip into their own pocket, owners that will not go out and buy players for the best manager we've had in the Premier League era. If they're not going to back Jurgen Klopp, what makes any of you think that they're going to back any other manager? And the reason why I say that is because there's quite a lot of calls on on Twitter. So let's bear in mind it is Twitter and it's a pretty awful place to be at times. But there's a lot of calls for Jurgen Klopp to be out, which to me sounds laughable. Now I think you can criticize Jurgen Klopp. I've said it on this podcast quite a few times. I think you should. I think it's healthy to be able to criticize people. It doesn't mean that I want Jurgen Klopp out, but if FSG are not going to back Jurgen Klopp, what makes any of you think they would back another manager if they were to sack Jurgen Klopp? It doesn't happen. These owners do not back managers. They never have. They never will. The only way for Liverpool to sustain finishing, having title races year in, year out, to be winning Premier League titles consistently, to be winning European Cups, is for new ownership to come in. That is the only way. FSG do need to leave. They're not going to leave. So I don't really know where we go from here. But anyway, I could talk about FSG for hours. FSG was not the reason why we lost last night. Okay, you can look at that bench, you can look at that midfield, the lack of options, and yes, you can go, right, we need to sign a midfielder. Of course we do. Of course we do. But last night wasn't the case of a lack of investment for me. Last night was one team wanting it more than the other, and a combination of piss poor tactics from Jurgen Klopp yet again. This high line is killing us. It's absolutely killing us. It was destroying us at the end of last season when we were going 1-0 down at the start of every single game. It's carried on into this season. We can't seem to stop it. Virgil van Dijk last night was an utter disgrace on that pitch. The best centre back in the world, I've called him for a number of years now. For the last 5 or 6 years, he's been incredible. Right now, he looks like he can give a shit, genuinely, along with Trent Alexander Arnold. Absolutely shocking performance from the pair of them. Trent Alexander Arnold was exposed relentlessly last night. And to some degree, I feel sorry for him because he is expected to be Liverpool's most creative player from fullback. So he's expected to get up and down the pitch, get into creative positions, but he's also expected to be back, stopping players like Alanga or Rashford or Martial 1v1. He gets no protection, literally no protection. I love watching Elliot play. I think he was probably one of the best, along with Diaz, out of an awful bunch, although I don't think he did anything particularly special. But Elliot on that right hand side doesn't do it for me. He doesn't track back. He doesn't offer Trent any protection. But that being said, Trent defensively, when he was in position, was an abomination. That first goal with the 1-2, it's so easy. It's so easy. He doesn't it looks like he just doesn't care. There's no intent in sprinting back and trying to make a tackle or at least block the cross coming in. He gets beat and he just walks back. It was the same in the Community Shield, which everyone keeps raving about and saying, oh, the Community Shield was such a great performance. You look at the goal, I don't know if it was the Foden goal or it was the one where it was bundled over the line where Adrian drops it. Trent Alexander-Arnold does this. Like the linesman's over there. He looks over to the linesman while the ball's still in play. There's no defensive mind. There's no intensity in his defense. And in that game, if he just paid attention, he would have cleared it off the line. Man City don't score. And it's like watching him last night. Once he gets beat, he didn't care. He didn't care. He's just walking back. And it's not good enough. It's really not good enough. And while I love Trent, we all do, for what he does offensively, I don't think we can keep watching him at right back this season. He's getting exposed time after time. It's just a complete weak point for Liverpool. A high line, add in Trent Alexander-Arnold and a Virgil van Dijk that just doesn't seem to be giving a shit. Liverpool aren't winning games. No chance. That goal when the first goal goes in and Milner and Van Dijk are having a screaming match at each other. And I completely feel that Milner's justified. People say, oh, Milner dives in, he commits himself, he gets sent for a hot dog, all of this kind of rubbish. But at least he's trying something. You know, I watched the game on Sky Sports News, which, by the way, is a nauseating channel if you're not a Manchester United fan. Good God, the wank fest for that club all of last night. Gary Neville, Roy Keane, uh, Martin Tyler. I mean, when Jadon Sancho scored, you could literally hear Martin Tyler and Gary Neville sort of ripping each other's clothes off. It was revolting, the commentary and the bias on that channel. So I would thoroughly recommend anyone to find any dodgy streams, from the American channels to get away from Sky Sports, because it's one of the worst channels out there. Anyway, Sky Sports isn't the reason why we lost. I just wanted to add that in because I wanted to be a little bit petty. But the first goal. Jadon Sancho, yep, okay, Milner dives in. At least he's trying. Virgil van Dijk, he just stands perfectly still. He shrinks in. He doesn't do anything. And I heard on commentary from Martin Tyler going, oh, look at the composure from Jadon Sancho. I think of it as something completely different. Yeah, it's a good goal from him, but he sells Milner the dummy. But actually, when he gets the ball, you kind of expect him to strike it first time, and he doesn't. And I don't see that as composure, because when you watch it back, for me, it looked like a bit of a lack of confidence, because him and Rashford have been pretty poor for a long time. And when he gets the ball, it looks like he wants to take a couple of extra touches and get himself really set. And he's waiting for someone to tackle him. That's a player that looks unsure of himself. And I think if Van Dijk had just gone there with a bit of intensity, he potentially blocks a shot, or maybe Jadon Sancho messes up. But he just stands perfectly still and goes, there you go, mate. I'm blocking off Alisson. Why didn't you score? Virgil van Dijk has been one of the worst players in this Liverpool team every game this season. So it has been appalling from him. I don't really understand what's going on with um with Virgil van Dijk this season. I'm just going to bring my microphone a little bit closer because my cat's making an irritating noise over there. Thank you so much for that, mate. So I have a feeling that maybe Van Dijk is playing within himself. The World Cup is coming in a few months this winter. He's never played in the World Cup. He's never played in the European Championships for Holland. So is Virgil van Dijk just not putting his body on the line? If that's the case, then that's not really good enough. I don't feel. Maybe it's a little bit harsh to sort of say. Sorry about that. I had to pause the recording because there was some awful noise going on in the background. Anyway, like I was saying, Van Dijk was awful, simply awful last night. No intensity in his game. It's been the same all season. I genuinely feel that potentially he's wanting to he's not willing to risk himself with the World Cup year coming up. And look, I get it, but at the same time, if that's how you're going to play, sit on the bench. Jenny, I don't care if it's Van Dijk. I don't care if he's been the best centre back in world football for a number of years. If you're not going to play to your maximum because you've got bigger things happening down the line, you go. That midfield last night was embarrassing, really, wasn't it? Championship level, really, for me. You look at the options from the bench. It was shocking. I've just seen see if I can find this tweet on my phone. The midfield options that Liverpool have got. So Liverpool's current midfield options: Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, Elliott, Carvalho, who was brought in as an attacker, by the way, and Bashatik. If I said that name wrong, I probably butchered that. 6 players, 2 of which would probably make it into the first team, and Henderson being in the first team, I think, is real, debate. So Fabinho probably is in that first team. Milner is a squad option. I think Elliott, on the verge. Carvalho, squad option. Bashatek, 17. It's awful. Those aren't midfield options. That's shocking. And last night we were just outplayed. We were outrun in the middle of the park. Jordan Henderson, I've said on this podcast that I would be happy to see Jordan Henderson playing in that number 6 role, rotating in and out with Fabinho. I certainly didn't expect to see it last night. I certainly didn't want to see it last night. And he was exposed. He was exposed from minute one. Jordan Henderson, I felt sorry for him at times, really. And as frustrating as it was watching him in that number 6, he was the one driving us forward the most, especially in that first half. I was seeing him deep and he was getting the ball and he was running at those Manchester United midfielders and he was trying to create something. And I was thinking to myself, you're our number 6. And what is happening? The tactics were just bizarre. Milner was our most forward player at times. He was playing as a number 9. Firmino was a third centre-back for the majority of the game. He's finished. He's absolutely finished at this level. Diaz, I thought was a bit more of a shining light, but again, he's so far out wide. It's, the comparisons with Mane are going to happen, and maybe they're not helpful. But with Mane and Salah, it was very simple. Firmino used to drop deep. Mane and Salah would start out wide, and then they would run in, so they would be inverted forwards, and it would cause so many problems. Diaz starts wide, and he gets wider and wider and wider, and he hogs that touchline. And now Mo Salah seems to be doing the same. And I've seen someone comment on this on another podcast the other day, and they were crucified. They were called every name under the sun. They were told, "Oh, you think you know more than Jurgen Klopp, do you?" Well, maybe some of these people do, because the tactics are appalling. What we're seeing right now at Liverpool, Mo Salah, our greatest goal scorer, an inverted forward, and he's just playing as a wide man. He's just playing so far wide, it makes no sense. James Milner up front at times. Firmino as a centre back. I don't understand the tactics. It was chaotic. It was completely chaotic from Liverpool last night. It looked to me that there was no tactics at all. There was no structure to Liverpool's game plan. There was no style. It was just a free for all. It was mental, and I don't really understand what is happening. It almost looks like self-sabotage. Genuinely, it looks like Klopp's just gone, just go out, just fuck it up. And this is the only way that FSG are going to back us, because these players are better than this. Klopp is better than this. These coaches, the tactics, they are better than this. And then I heard last night that we can't go to a 4-2-3-1, for example, because that would leave us with 4 attackers. Well, I don't understand why other teams with lesser managers and less quality players are able to be more tactically flexible than what Liverpool can be? Why has it got to be 4-3-3 game in, game out? Why has it got to be play a high line and present, roll the red carpet out for anyone who can run quicker than bloody Jordan Henderson or James Milner? I had this debate with someone last night and he had a right go at me and said, we played 4-3-3, we haven't played counter-attacking football. Why would we suddenly do that now? You're a manager who's paid millions. Can't you adapt? You're a player who's played millions. Can't you adapt? Can't you be a bit more flexible? Why is it that other teams are able to do it, but not us? So it's not a case that we can't do it. It's a case that we won't do it. And that isn't good enough. That's just stubbornness and arrogance. And I can't watch this season if it's going to be the same as 2 years ago. And that's not, don't you dare criticize me as a fan, because I can't watch a team with such glaring weaknesses that need to be resolved in the transfer market or tactically, and when neither is happening. If Liverpool aren't going to go into the transfer market and invest in a player which they so desperately need, then tactics need to change. But tactics aren't going to change. So I can't watch a season be thrown down the line with such quality players because of arrogance, because someone's stubborn, or because they put in their ego in front of what the team needs. Bright sparks last night: Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott to a degree, although I don't think he's particularly amazing, and Carvalho. Carvalho was great when he came on. He caused Manchester United quite a few problems. They did not know how to play with him, or play against him, rather. Why can't we go to a 4-2-3-1 for a while? Play a little bit of a deeper line, have Fabinho and Henderson in there as a double pivot, Carvalho, Diaz, Salah, all behind Firmino until we get Jota and Nunes back. Why can't we mix things up? Why can't we do something like that? Because I guarantee that would be a better outcome than what we're seeing right now. It's madness to me. It's absolute madness that we're doing the same shit game in, game out, and it's not working. And then the resolution to that is we're going to keep doing the same. We're not going to sign someone, and we're going to keep playing the same way until it works. It's bonkers to me. It's absolutely bonkers. Things need to change at this football club. I hope change is coming, but I don't think it will. And when I say change, I don't mean a change in management. Actually, Jurgen Klopp is the best thing at this football club, and he needs to stay. Ideally, a change in ownership, that's not going to happen. But a change in approach and a change in tactics for me, a change in approach, i.e., in the transfer market, would be good. If we can't get the dream of Jude Bellingham this summer, then maybe we can go out and get someone else. Because, good God, anyone else in world football right now would improve this midfield. It was quite depressing, I thought, listening to Jamie Carragher last night. It seems to me that he's turning into a bit of a mouthpiece for Liverpool Football Club and for FSG. The fact that after the game, after we'd just been dicked by Manchester United, and one of the positives last night is that it was 2-1. Manchester United could have scored 4 or 5 very easily. Fulham could have scored more than 2. Palace should have scored more than 1. And for him to come out and go, you could say the one area that perhaps isn't quite up to the very best is Liverpool's midfield. Up to the very best? You must be taking the piss. That midfield is championship quality. I would imagine that midfield is one of the worst midfields in the Premier League right now. So to sit there and go, it's not quite up there with the... What are you talking about? Why are we comparing this midfield to Manchester City? We're nowhere near Manchester City. Jesus Christ. Just the mouthpieces that seem to defend our owners. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Appalling owners. To lose out in the league by a point, to lose the Champions League, and for them to not come out and want to invest and to back this team. And that's what it's down to, in my opinion. This team look physically and more to the point, mentally gone. They're gone mentally. You can see it. You can see it in their body language. They're not up for it. You can see it in Klopp's body language as well. He does not look like his usual competitive, aggressive self. He looks like he's just accepting of it. It looks like things have happened behind the scenes. But years ago, we could be called the mentality monsters. That's what Klopp used to refer to this team as. And it was great because we really were. Now it's the fragility monsters. They're physically outbeaten by any team. I think we're mentally beaten as well. The team needed investment. I think the players needed the positivity of seeing probably another 2 players coming in, but at least another midfielder coming in to at least bump up the morale, the confidence, and to send a message to the players that we believe in you. and we're going to back you. And now we're going to give you an even better tool to go and get those trophies. And instead, the message being sent is we fell short last season. We've had the heart and soul ripped out of this team in the sense of some real top players going and personalities, i.e., Sadio Mane. And we're not even going to replace some of these players, let alone improve. And when your owners do that, of course, it's going to send a negative impression to the players. Of course, it is. These players look like they don't want to be there. And I don't think that's the case because they've been brilliant for us for a number of years. But I think these players look mentally shot. How do Liverpool get out of that? They have to go and sign someone. They have to go and sign someone for these players' benefit to help them out. Like genuinely, I think these players are screaming out for activity in the transfer market. Anyway, guys, that's this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a like, subscribe for more footy talk, comment down below your thoughts on the games. If you're a Liverpool fan like me, let me know, share some of that misery and depression that I'm feeling today. It'd be nice to get a couple of likes and a couple of comments and a subscription today, might cheer me up. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the game. And also United fans, I haven't spoken enough about United. Of course I haven't. It's been just a bit of a rant about Liverpool, but comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Like genuinely, what impressed you? What are you excited about? Do you think you can maintain that now consistently throughout the season? If you can, where do you think you will what you will achieve? As for Liverpool, top four at best, I think is the target. But if it keeps going like this, we will struggle to make top six. But yeah. Anyway, guys, give the video a like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. So thank you so much for watching.